But then I want to show you this series of paintings by Thomas Cole. There's a photograph of him by Matthew Brady. Famous set of gigantic canvases. I think they're in the New York City Historical Society. I've seen them somewhere in New York City. Gigantic paintings about that cover an entire wall on the side of the room, called The Course of Empire, painted between 1833 and 1836, 5 grand canvases, titled, and I'm going from the upper left clockwise, Savage, Pastoral. Actually, I'm going left, right, and then bottom left, Consummation, and then bottom right, Destruction, and in the middle, Desolation. So Cole seems to have some sense that all is not well in the United States, that we've clearly passed the savage stage, and maybe we're in that magical moment of the pastoral stage. But Cole, who had his real doubts about cities and the value of cities, saw us moving towards a consummation of a grand and perhaps somewhat decadent civilization, and then anticipated inevitably the destruction of that civilization, and then finally the return to desolation, essentially return to savagery. So you can see a circular conception of history rather than a progressive, ever upward conception of history, maybe in part driven by his own misgivings about the direction of American society. So then, just to bring home the point, I'm just going to juxtapose some images of actual industrial landscapes with the Hudson River paintings. And in some cases, well, I think in most of these cases where the images are no longer from the Hudson River Valley, but I think most of them are taken actually from William Cronin's wonderful book called Nature's Metropolis, which is really about how Chicago grew to its great size by exploiting and maybe to some extent destroying various ecosystems. So I'll just go through these quickly. The lumber yard. So this was a huge log jam on one of the rivers heading down to Lake Michigan that fed the lumber yards then of Chicago. Again, Chicago's lumber yard. Very pastoral scene, though, although this is a famous one that is on the cover of Leo Marx's The Machine and the Garden, fascinating book about Americans wanting to have it all, to have it both ways, the pastoral landscape and the industrial technology. This is, can't think of the painter's name offhand, but the effort to say we can have industrial technology, the train in the middle of the landscape there, and yet still have this wonderful pastoral scene. So here's the decimation of the buffalo. Again, these are taken from Chicago. But the whole point is just to juxtapose the industrial landscapes with these they're not imaginary landscapes. I mean, you could find this sort of beauty, but it's kind of a willful ignorance of the true state of the Hudson River Valley. So here's the meatpacking industry in Chicago. And the transformation of the prairies, a complete transformation of an ecosystem in the Great West from prairie to amber waves of grain. And the last point here is, this is one last image, I think, from Cronin. Cronin is saying, well, our resorts, our country towns, our resorts, and maybe even our suburbs, we somehow think as natural. And he points out, no, they are part of the industrializing society as well. We create these enchanted summer lands, as this railroad ad has it. We create them as retreats from the stress and strain and disagreeable aspects of our industrial civilization. So this is no more natural than the sawmills and the tanneries and so on. It just serves a different purpose. And so Andrew Jackson Downing, a landscape architect and really one of the architects of modern American suburbia, also came of age in the Hudson River Valley and did some of his most important work there. This is the Springside Estate in Poughkeepsie, New York, right on the Hudson River. So I think that what you're seeing here is us wanting our cake and eat it too, is something that is still with us. It has still relevance for us today. Do we just want the fruits of our environmental transformation of the world, or are we willing to take responsibility for all sides of it? Thank you. Jesus Christ, was that not going? Yeah, okay.